All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful like Akim, pushing this word with truth and sincerity. And Shalom to the multitude of believers, all right, of the hopeful elect, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, or the Israelites, God's chosen people of the Bible. Salvation is for you and you alone. This also includes the speckled bird, who Israel being scattered took on physical features and ways and followed false ways of these heathen nations. But if your father's line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all right, you are an Israelite, no matter what you look like, and you have an opportunity for repentance and deliverance in these times. This is a Men of Valley, Las Vegas camp. I'm the brother Karatazah.
Amaya Shatad.
And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. And is the title of it is going to be "Who's the Lender, Who's the Borrower," and it's proving who are the Israelites, and that as the scriptures say, the wicked is in control in these days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is going to be Romans, the 9th chapter and the 4th verse.
All right. It's going to be Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9, verse 4, and it reads, "Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and the promises."
Right, and only an Israelite can serve the Most High, okay, as it just stated, okay, truly understanding this word, all right, that comes through, the Israelites, God's chosen people, the adoption, the covenant, the Most High made Israel a peculiar, special treasure, separate, holy and separate. As the scriptures state, the next scripture is going to be Deuteronomy 28 and 43.
Oh.
And so, in these times, Israel is in a low estate, falling, as the scriptures say, that they shall fall away. Actually, I'm gonna grab that. I believe it's 2 Thessalonians 2, and in verse 3 it says, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first." That was speaking about how the Israelites were scattered, all right, after that so-called it's Israelite Roman war, but historians will call it the Jewish Roman war, and which led to the Israelites being scattered. Okay, it says, "And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." All right, and that is talking about Esau, Edom, the adversary of the Bible, this so-called or self-proclaimed white man. All right, today, he is the adversary, all right, of Jacob, Israel. Okay, and that the Most High set him up to be in a position to be the head over, all right, or to have Israel in subjection as a punishment and correction and chastisement on our people. All right, and we're gonna go into those curses.
Right, for the backsliding of the nation of Israel.
Yeah.
All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43, and it reads, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him."
Right. So who is lending to us? Who do you have to go to get a loan from? All right.
Mm-hmm.
It says that, is what it's going to say in this. And you're going to read down to 49.
God, you got to go to those small headers.
Right.
And it
There's
reads,
a specific group of people who you have to go to.
God. And it reads, he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power.
Right, and he said that, till you be destroyed, and Israel is destroyed. Now look at the state of the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American man. They all got their own problems,
Mm-hmm.
They all suffering, affliction from the president. It says that in Jeremiah, that they will be oppressed together.
Right. And
all right, but we're destroyed together as well.
And how much more in these days and times that you're seeing. Now you're starting to, both nations, both Southern and Northern Kingdom are starting to see themselves in the same boat. All right? All this oppression that is going to the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indians, all right, as well as the speckled bird whose father's line goes back, hey, they're starting to feel and starting to understand little by little. But Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to quicken them to understand that we are one nation, and here in these coming days.
Yeah.
All right. So I can get back on verse.
Yeah, we can read
45 again.
40. Okay, no, you can keep going. My bad. You got it.
Okay. Till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto thy voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
Right, and that's the direct punishment, because we didn't do these things that he told us to. We broke the promises. Now we have to suffer the consequence. You got it?
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
All right, so the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, will be the indication of who Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai's people are.
Mm-hmm.
And that they cling unto Israel. Okay, the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American. All right, including the speckled bird. Okay, you got it.
All right. In verse 30, select verse 37, and it reads.
Yeah, and you can't get away with it. You can't get away from it. All right, until the Lord reverse those curses and make them go into our enemies, as it says in I believe that's
32.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 32. We ain't got to get it, but it says that our enemies are gonna start getting these curses. So these Edomites, we already see them starting to get some of these plagues. All right,
get them in folding. It's 30. It's like 30 and 7.
Yep, 30 and 7. Yeah, the kids is or they women is getting out of order. And that's where it starts.
Right.
They got the the spirit of the enda going on.
Right. Verse 47.
47. Yeah.
God. Verse 47, and it reads, because thou servest not Yahweh Bashem Yahushai thy power with joyfulness and with gladness and gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
Because the Lord would have gave it to us. He did give it to us.
God.
All right. But now.
Therefore saith thou, serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
Right.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee.
Yep. Yeah, the yoke of iron. And who did that to where can you see the most pictures of that is during the times of slavery with the Southern Kingdom.
God.
You know, but I mean, the Northern Kingdom had a yoke of iron on their neck too.
God.
All right, these you know, white men didn't have yokes of iron on their neck. All right, there's nowhere in history where you can see that. Not even in you know, the so-called Hollow Sea.
You're right.
All right, you ain't see that.
Hey, because Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he gives indications and markers to let you know. All right,
Yeah.
He said this is a sign. This would be a sign to let you know exactly who you are, Israel.
Yeah. So whatever success you have to go through these people to get there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, even in the celebrity world, they have handlers.
Right.
You know.
Verse 49, and it reads, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from afar, for the end of the end of the earth.
You know, and who had to come over here? You know, Cristobal Colon.
Come, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
And you know, the Lord, you know, put that eagle in there. You know, it's not just a coincidence that all these Edomite ruled countries throughout history always had the symbol of an eagle.
Right.
You know, as their you know, on their flag.
On their national animal or mascot, if you want to say.
You just recently had, before Biden got out of the presidency, I think he made it the official animal of the United States, or you know.
Right. Hey, and here it is that you can also see where it says a language not known. All right. Hey, you still don't know the language of Esau Edom. Why? Because he devised mischief by law, and he uses justice as his law.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You Jakes don't read. Most of you don't read the Black Law Dictionary.
You don't know the meaning, the true meaning of words,
and the true meaning of words
that you're even speaking. That's why you still call yourself ninja.
Right. The speech, your speech itself enchant and entrap you.
And black. That's why you still call yourself black.
Right.
And cling into these proverbs.
So, Yahweh Shem Yahushai made good on his word, as he always will.
Yeah.
All right? It's still a language that you don't know. But now that the men of Yahweh Shem Yahushai are going into the etymology of words and getting the detail of the word and have been doing it 40 plus years, now these devils are getting scared.
Right.
All right? Because they no longer can hide behind their law. Their law can no longer be the justice, because it's just a lie.
Right.
And it was really just to harm us.
Right. So these all prove, these points, you know, prove that who's the righteous and who's the wicked in the Bible, who's God's chosen people, the Israelites, and who are these deceivers, you know, the adversary, the wicked, you know, Esau, Edom. I might get a couple of precepts. Can you grab Proverbs 22:7? This is Job 9:24. The earth is given in the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? And the Lord put this man in that position. All right. But it said that this earth would be given in the hand of the wicked. And who do we see that has control? You know, we already know. The so-called white man. All right. And he did that for our chastisement.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now going over to Baruch, the 3rd chapter and the 8th verse, it says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. And who is that we? Till this very day. Till this day. What was that? That
Deontay Wilder.
Right.
To this day.
He's still in captivity. All right. Employment.
Mm-hmm.
And that we is talking about Israel. Where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. And we still in times of being subject to payments. But who do we got to pay? We got to render Caesar with Caesar's.
Right.
All right. We got to pay those taxes to this beast system. Okay, and it is ruled by the hand of the wicked. Okay, now you got it.
This is to be the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, in verse 7, and it reads, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender."
Yeah. So the borrower is servant to the lender, and who's the lender? Esau, Edom. All right. And it says the rich ruleth over the poor. The poor. Go look in. Who's living in the ghettos and in low income housing?
The barrios and so on and so forth.
That's Jake.
The slums.
Okay. So it all identifies and separates these two nations as in the book of Genesis, the angel told Rebekah that you have two manner of nations in thy womb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And these devils use the tactics so they could keep rule over Jacob. That's why they keep you in debt. That's why they make it hard for you to be what is it called?
Self-sufficient.
Well, self-sufficient, but pretty much self-sufficient. There's another term I'm thinking of, but where you don't have to work for nobody else.
Self-employed.
Yeah, self-employed. There's something. Another term I can't think of right now.
I'm coming up with every one by one.
It's the same. It means the same thing, but not relying on nobody, on an employer.
Self-reliant.
No, there's a specific term that I had popped in my head, and I lost it. It's all good though. That's the main point. This is Habakkuk 2 and 6, and if you want to grab if you could grab Psalms 144 and 8.
Psalms 144 and 8.
And this is Habakkuk 2 and 6. It says, "Shall not all these..." Habakkuk, I said 2 and 6. I don't know. I felt like I said the wrong number. But it says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb saying against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay." All right, so
you see that now. You see that in the monetary system that they're doing, how they're adding more resources, or so-called resources, more money to the debt ceiling and everything.
Yeah,
the whole system.
So it says, "Woe unto him that increaseth that which is not his." This land is not this devil's the land. Our land that he's occupying right now is not his. All right, he built up America off the free labor from the slaves. All right, the so-called Negro man. All right, woman and child. It says, "And him that ladeth himself," so also woe unto him that ladeth himself with thick clay, which means, I'll grab it, Habayat in the, I believe that's the correct pronunciation in the Hebrew, for thick clay, weight of pledges and heavy debts. Right. So they keep on throwing these on. When you go get that loan,
BBB,
it's 25, it's 100 times the amount you paid it off, and don't miss a payment.
Right. And you can see, hey, he's added unto him, even himself. All right, that big, beautiful.
How much is in debt is America?
It's going to add an additional 10 trillion.
Right.
To the national deficit.
To go fund, these other countries. These other countries' wars, which will end up getting this place destroyed. So, and that's
that's over a 10-year period. In 10 years, the national debt is supposed to increase anywhere from 10 to 15 trillion.
Pay off what they already have. So, good luck.
All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 144 and verse 8, and it reads, "Whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood."
Right. Who does that?
Right?
Right? Their right hand, so their strength, their power comes from falsehood.
Right.
Is the right hand of falsehood, deception.
That's what the
Trickery.
BBB is.
Right? Because all he did was he's making America great again, but he's taking away all the things, and not just him, the higher ups are.
Right.
They're stripping all the help. Okay, which we know this is going to go into the NWO, the economic destruction of Babylon the Great and this beast system, and then they're going to come up with that new device,
Yep.
all right, that new thing that they're going to put in your hand that's tied into a digital currency and look to save you. Can you get Sirach 10 and 8?
Yeah.
But
I just passed there.
this is all gonna come back and bite them in the butt. All right, the Lord's not gonna let them get away with it, but they're showing you plain and clear, or plain as day, that hey, they ain't got you in their best interest. You go fund, ICE, go fund these other, make a tax cut so we could
give the wealthy even more money.
Right, but then we're
losing on the end.
No more Medicaid, no more
losing for the people, the subjects.
Yeah.
Right, so you can't even sustain that which you have, but you add on and hoard up riches unto yourself. This goes yet another indication of Yahweh Shem Yahushai showing who the devil is.
Yeah, making that separation.
Right.
They're making a separation in class.
Right.
This is a
classism.
Aristocrats and peasants.
Right. This will be the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 8, and it reads, because of Salakia. Let me start over. This will be the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 8, and it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, unrighteous dealing in injuries and riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Right. And this, we're in a time of translation, but we're going to see the downfall before that comes. That comes with the translation. This is not going to be, someday you just, we're rich and you're poor. No, our bank accounts just switch with the Rothschilds. It would be nice, but no, there's going to be suffering and destruction because they got to pay their judgment, and all the Lord has to judge this place.
Yep.
But hey, it shows you once again that the people where they're at, they're not supposed to be.
Right.
And same as it said in Ecclesiastes. I have seen the servants on horses
and princes
walking the earth.
Yep.
Okay, this is going to be 1 John chapter 5. First John chapter 5 and verse 19 in the NLT. It says, we know that we are the children of Yahweh, and the world around us is under the control of the evil one. All right. So we know that we, the Israelites, are the children of the Most High, and that the world is around us. All right. This current system we're living in is under the control of the evil one. Esau, Edom, the wicked. Okay. So, that was pretty much it. If you got something, you could bring it out.
Okay. This is Sirach. This will be Sirach chapter 31 and verse 3, and it reads, the rich hath great labor. The rich have great labor in gathering riches together, and when he receiveth, he is filled with deceit. Salakia. Gotta get. That's not deceit. delicacy, and the poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. So, hey, Yahweh Shem Yahushai has allowed this devil to receive that which is belongs unto Caesar. All right, he's holding his position because that's his lot. All right, and it is our lot at this time to suffer. But Yahweh Shem Yahushai is turning the things right side up from being upside down.
Yeah, and can you read that one more time?
Yeah, got to read it in the light. And this is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 31 and verse 3, and it reads, "The rich have great labor in gathering riches together, and when he resteth, he is filled with his delicacy." Yeah, and verse 4, and it reads, "The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy."
And that's the thing. In these times, that's the point I just wanted to make, was that in these times, Esau laid up with his riches. All right, he has he just don't he has all his gold stacked up. He heaping treasures upon treasures. They're not going to deliver him, but he has Jake out there working, and after he get done with a full day of work, can't even pay all of his bills.
God, I was going to read through 6 too. And it reads, verse 5, and it reads, "He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Gold hath been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present."
You can't serve two masters, Mammon or the Most High.
So Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to require, because this is what this devil has done. He has heaped up all this gold unto himself, and he has used Yahweh Shem Yahushai's people to do it.
So it will not deliver you in these days. They actually said you're going to be throwing out your gold in the streets.
And matter of fact, you see how the price of gold is just skyrocketing right now, right?
People, getting obsessed about it. Oh, I need, what's that animal on the Fantastic Beasts that love shiny shit?
Oh, yeah.
It look like a platypus or something.
Yeah. I forget what it's called. But nevertheless, hey, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what it is. Hey, that's a perfect animal depiction of Esau Edom.
But there's another animal that actually is attracted, in real life, that's attracted to shiny shit.
Yeah. And
it goes like, take it. But, when that's your only care, man, hey, you're going to go right into... You're going to go lead yourself right into the grave.
Right. Straight to destruction.
So,
and that's 2/3 of Jake as well.
Right.
All right.
That's, following after your father, the devil, because he's a greedy, just full of greed and envy. So that's all he cares about is his riches. That's why he treats the people that they do. That's why he has these laws in place to keep that power seat. So Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. We'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto
Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakakadash.
And to the next one, Shalom.
Shalom.